you can continue on from the previous exercise using the Chapter 7 Creating Spaces file that we opened in the previous exercise. If not, just reopen it. It doesn't matter if you don't have the room tags available for this particular exercise. One of the ways of performing building analysis on a Revit MEP model is to create spaces. Those spaces can then be passed through the heating and cooling load analysis tools. To do that, we need to create spaces that fill all the voids in the building. These tools are available on the Analyze tab. If you are only interested in building analysis rather than any of the structural analysis tools, you can, from the Application button, click on Options, User Interface, and turn off the structural analysis tools. Under Spaces and Zones, I want to create a space. I'm working on level 1. I'm going to specify the upper limit is level 2 with an offset of 0. However, when I come to place the space, I get an error message. The space is not in a properly enclosed region. I need to do something with the linked file in order for me to create the spaces. The linked file needs to be room bounding. Selecting the linked file, I can click on Properties, edit the type, and then click on Room Bounding. When we click on OK, we'll find that the space has filled the volume. Rather than do this to each individual space, I can place spaces automatically. This tells me 23 spaces have been created automatically. We can repeat that now. For level 2, go to Space. The upper limit is level 3 with a 0 offset, and place them automatically. And finally for level 3, go to Space again. Upper limit is Roof, 0 offset, and place them automatically. If I scroll into one of the areas, we can see that each of these spaces has got a name and a unique number. However, this name doesn't coordinate with the room names and numbers, and I'd like to coordinate them, especially at the beginning of the project, so that when I do some analysis, I'm not just looking at individual space names. It could get a bit confusing. There are 2 ways to resolve this. Create a space schedule. Here in the project we have one prepared, and in the space schedule we can see the space number, the room name, the name of the space, and the room number. Let's reorder this slightly. We'll go to the Properties palette, click on Sorting and Grouping, and we'll sort this by room number. On the Fields tab, select room number and move it to the top, and click on OK. Now we can see the room number, the space number, which we can change, the room name, and the space name. So we can also change the space name. You can see in this project it wouldn't take us that long to update these, so it's a nice job for a graduate. Alternatively, if you have Revit MEP on subscription, you can download the add-in tool called the Space Naming Utility. Launch the Space Naming Utility and coordinate names and numbers across all levels. Click on OK, and the names and numbers of the spaces now correspond to the names and numbers of the rooms. We can check this in our space schedule. Spaces at the top of the list where there's no room name or room number could equate to chases or volumes that the architect hasn't considered. We can find one of these by right-clicking on a row and clicking on Highlight in Model. Here we can see space 322, obviously not a room. but it is a volume that has to be accounted for when doing analysis.